My name is Adam Chalmers, and I'm going to be walking through the AI system that we built for Otter Intelligence. I'm assuming everybody here is sufficiently caffeinated to listen to me talk about AI a little bit for the next 50 minutes or so. I was walking in, kind of coming here today, I was thinking, okay, we're talking about AI, it's kind of a complex thing, but if I could kind of encapsulate what we want to do with Otter Intelligence AI in a really kind of, in a nutshell, I think it would be this. I think it would be about making conversations, like making discussions, which are the most natural form of human expression, analyzable and actionable. And I think that's what we're going to try to capture here with the AI system we built. Now, Agnesa's platform is amazing, right, at providing this opportunity to gather data about how people think, right, how people discuss, how people might come to consensus on issues, all within this really interesting consultation-specific environment. And the data we get are these transcripts, which we just heard about, right? So a large number of transcripts. It's a lot of rich data. It's a lot of unstructured data. And that's kind of where the AI comes in. So the best way to describe this is to demonstrate it. So that's what I'm going to do here. So now I'm going to pray to the IT gods here a little bit, just to hopefully this will work. And I'll also be typing over here and looking at you and trying to do this all at the same time. So the very first thing you do here, and this is a step that we've kind of already done, is you'd have your transcripts. Right? Let's say there's 5 transcripts or 10 transcripts, and it's very simple. You would drag and drop them into the AI system there. And you can see we already have a series of transcripts that are organized by different sessions. There have been a series of different kind of game sessions that have been played there. This might seem like the kind of the mundane part of this, but actually this is the most important part. This is really the foundation. Because what's going on here when we process these transcripts is we're vectorizing this text analysis in a way that creates numerical representations of semantic meaning. Right? So what we're not looking at words and how people are talking in terms of words. We're actually thinking, we have a process here that we can think about relationships between ideas. And that's the real power of what we're doing. I'll demonstrate it all here in a second. This is not kind of a ChatGPT wrapper. It's not ChatGPT. This is a retrieval augmented generative system. And it means that those game sessions have been vectorized, they've been processed in a very specific way that creates a base of knowledge and truth that the AI system can talk to and draw on to get accurate, reliable, verifiable responses to chat queries. I think that's the key. All right, so let's demo a little bit here. I'm going to start off, let's just get it warmed up. I'm going to click down here. And essentially, we're set up in I think this is quite familiar now. We have a chat query field here. Answers to your questions will go up there. You have your sessions here, and I'll kind of go through the different functions. To start any type of chat query, you need to select a session. So I'll just select 2 sessions, just so we have something. But I'm just going to say hi to Otter, and I hope here we get something in a reasonable amount of time, and then we'll do some. Okay, good, it's alive. Okay, whew, first hurdle passed. But I'm gonna so as with anything like this, you can ask any question, right? So I'm gonna say something like, I don't know, compare these games in terms of agreement and disagreement, something like that. Hopefully spelling mistakes don't matter at all. And now it's really thinking, oh, well, great. And of course, in the demo, it did work. The problem here is I probably didn't give it enough information. So let me just see here, my pre-select prompt. Yeah, so compare these games. In terms of the main points of, oh boy.
We all make the same spelling mistakes.
Agreement and disagreement I could have asked anything, by the way, as well. Of agreement. This should work. Let's hope it works. I'm going to give it a little bit more data to work with here. So essentially I'm selecting, now this is selecting a larger number of files, which I can't see. Let's, I've got to launch it. In principle, your queries should provide meaningful insight back from the chatbot. This one looks more promising because it's obviously doing a lot more thinking, and we will see what happens here. Sometimes it also depends on the network connection. I should have prepared a series of jokes to fill in the... Oh, miracle. Okay, here we go. So this is actually, there's obviously a little bit of a network thing because it had a bottleneck and then shot it all out. And normally it would have a nice smooth response. That's it. This is now it's looking at the selected game transcripts from the session information over there and providing a meaningful answer to our query. Everything here I should note too, right, is again, it's this reg system, which means there's no hallucination. Right, we set this foundation of knowledge and truth against which the AI draws the information. I can provide all the technical information and details that you want, but it's about reliability and verifiability to a large extent. We have a little function here where you might like this answer, you want to save it for later, and so you put it in your knowledge base, and so it pops down there. You might, through a series of sessions, put things in your knowledge base and then export them later. It exports your query, and it exports the answer as well. Okay, that's kind of the main thing that you can do, but we have a series of functions down along the bottom, which provide a lot more functionality in terms of the type of analysis that you can be doing. And I won't do them in order. I'm going to do kind of the easier ones. We have the ability to add filters, to create a report, to do sentiment analysis, and to do topic modeling, and to do stance analysis. And I'll just really quickly run this sentiment analysis. You might want to know about the degree to which the discussions in the different games are highly positive in the way that they frame their conversations, or maybe negative, right? What kind of players are we talking about? This would be the easiest or the kind of the highest level slice to get a sense of who's doing what. So this is massively, overwhelmingly neutral. This is totally normal for conversational transcripts in a game setting. And I was with Veronica, we ran a game. People tend to maybe keep their emotions a little bit on low simmer, right? But we can start to see that there is, in comparison with negative comments, more, right? So there are more positive than negative, and you can click and get a sense of the top level words. That's the first part of our analysis. So very quick, kind of these easy access buttons. And then another thing you can do is to say, well, what topics? Let's take all of that unstructured data and let's figure out what themes are people talking about the most. Which ones are the most prevalent? This is something called topic modeling. And so we can do this also in this system. It gives us a nice AI overview, but I'll just kind of scroll down to the bottom. This explains these are the topics that it's discovered. And it says it's analyzed 8 games. It's discovered 6 latent topics. And you can see them, and actually kind of makes sense, right? Environment and water, carbon, economy, bus, and water. This is actually from the Karen Comes game, and this makes sense, what you're going to get. So these are the themes, these are the latent themes. It's not the things that are explicitly kind of mentioned or written down somewhere. These are the things that are implied in the conversation. Okay, moving on. I wanted to show you the filters, which I think is kind of one of the kind of more powerful forms of functionality we have. I have 2 games here, which are the 2 that we've heard of. I'm going to select Jeff's game. This lists, so as you saw in the games, the the user selects policies and goals. They create them. These are those goals and policies. And so we want to tell our system to focus like a laser on a specific policy or on a specific goal. This is how we do it. And it's not just adding it to the prompt. There's a whole back end. In the back end, there's a whole brain that we created around what these things actually mean semantically. So let's just do sustainable places. This one about minimizing carbon emissions. You would apply the filter applied, one policy, and then it pops up here with some smart prompts. Again, it's not just a prompt, it activates this additional brain to say, we're going to focus on this. This is what we mean by that policy. And we can see our smart prompts. It's recommending to do a policy summary, to look at alignment check, stakeholders. I'll just do this one just really quick. It throws it into the chat, and you can then launch that. Now, again, right, it's using the additional brain, this additional information. And that's great. But I'm going to move on from that as well. And I can't explain why, of course, right? It's only because I'm up here doing this and there are people watching that it's going to be a bit finicky. If I ran it again, it might be the number of games I selected that we don't have enough, and that's fine too. This is super powerful, right? Because if you're analyzing your games and you want to know the policies and goals, this is where you go, and it provides this additional layer of filtering that allows it to be very specific and to get really accurate information. Okay, so I'll close this. Let me just clear the filter if I can. And the final thing I want to show you here is the report. So this takes all of your transcripts, and it uses a template that Agnesa has developed to allow the user to create their own kind of standalone 10, 15, 20-page report across a whole series of different questions. And so it gives a little explanation here. And essentially the report is structured like this, like a nice report, title, acknowledgement, all the way down. You can ask about, in here we've also baked in sentiment analysis and the topic modeling that I mentioned as well. And some of these things are things that you edit yourself. And then some of these things are things that are generated by the AI. And so it would then take all of those documents, and it should, here, barring any unforeseen problems, generate an executive summary for the selected transcripts, plop it in there, it's editable. You'd imagine you go through there we go, we have a nice executive summary. You can now come into it and edit it. Let's say you're not happy with something and you want to change, you want to make sure we spell strategize correctly, right, to reflect proper spelling. And then of course, adding these other elements. All done, right? Imagine we are all done here. We can come to the top, and we then would be able to export that entire document, that entire report for the user. Okay, I'm slowly coming to the end of my presentation here. And we'll just close this. I just wanted to say a few words, I think, about the future of what we're getting here. I think this is a powerful AI tool, right, that can make sense of the large amount of unstructured data that Agnesa's games elicit. But I think that we can actually go further as well. So we're talking now about creating an AI player, or a series of AI players who could play with you in the game. So replacing one, two, or maybe all players except for yourself. Now that might sound like fun, right? You could have different personalities and these players having different goals and strategies. But I think it speaks to things like inclusiveness and access, right? It's not just a fun thing to have. It's about, well, what if you can't make it to the meeting? How do you make this more accessible outside of meeting at a town hall or some venue at a specific time? So that's like one big plan that we have moving forward with the AI system for Otter Intelligence. So it's been a great pleasure presenting this to you today. Thank you very much.